Clearly the real debate now is, does Iran have the right to enrich uranium? No one's
Yes,
suggesting that they're actually building a bomb. And Ahmadinejad, I'm going to play the clip for you, answered it this way.
We want to have the right to peaceful nuclear energy. They tell us, don't make it yourself. We'll give it to you. Why do we need the fuel from you? You've not even given us spare aircraft parts that we need for civilian aircraft for 28 years under the name of embargo and sanctions because we're against, for example, human rights or freedom. If you don't give us spare parts for civilian aircraft, what is the expectation that you'd give us fuel for nuclear development for peaceful purposes?
We seem to have a standoff on one fundamental question. Iran is saying they have the right to enrich uranium, which clearly they do under the Non-Proliferation Agreement. But that enrichment of uranium also gives the capacity to build a bomb. The Americans and obviously the Europeans and recently the French foreign minister, who seems to have made this his personal mission, are saying Iran can't have its own uranium enrichment process. This is quite a standoff. Can one see Iran backing down on this? So where does it lead?
No, Iran will never back down vis-a-vis its rights enshrined by its participation in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty to have a civilian nuclear program. This is being examined for years by the IAEA. They have an agreement. They reached an agreement last month. Until November, possibly early December maximum, all the outstanding issues, pending issues, will be solved. And it's a question of national pride. If you talk to Iranians, if you talk to reformists in Iran, or students, or women, or progressive groups in general, everybody's going to say, look, we have the right to have a civilian nuclear program. We don't want a nuclear bomb. In fact, the Ayatollah Khomeini, he issued a fatwa in the early 80s prohibiting a bomb when he said it was un-Islamic. Ayatollah Khamenei obviously doesn't want a bomb. What could happen, and we already said that before, is that some rogue elements in the Iranian Revolutionary Guards might try to pursue an underground nuclear program. I don't think they have the know-how to do it, and I don't think they have the connections to do it. And if they already had started, the IAEA inspectors, which are the best nuclear inspectors in the world, they would have found out by now, and they didn't. There's no hard evidence that there is even an underground military-use nuclear program in Iran. So they're right when they say that. And they say, look, India and Brazil, they have their own nuclear civilian program. Why not us? And this is an absolutely legitimate question. And the Bush administration has no answer for that.
There's an article today in the Tehran Times, which is an English newspaper that seems to some extent reflect Iranian government positions. There's an interview with the general, I believe his name is Zavin. He's a former head of the Revolutionary Guard Corps. They describe him in the newspaper as being the senior military advisor to the supreme leader.
Yes, since last month, absolutely, correct.
And in this, he says that Iran does not expect a war, but they're ready for one, which one would assume they would say. But he uses a very interesting phrase. He says Iran has developed a new military capacity and strategy for extra-regional warfare. What does he mean by that?
Yeah, extra-regional, he's referring to South Asia and Central Asia. He's talking basically about Pakistan and about Afghanistan. What he's saying is, look, if you attack us, we can counterattack against the Americans in Pakistan, and we can counterattack against NATO forces and American forces in Afghanistan especially. I would put it first of all Afghanistan, and then on a second level Pakistan, in case the Musharraf government would support an American attack.
Is there a solution that can be negotiated here?
Well, if we were dealing with a non-Bush administration, surely. The problem is, don't forget that Dick Cheney, which even Hillary Clinton described as Darth Vader, as something that even kids knew about it, until recently. The thing is regime change in Iran. And that's why the administration has been trying to change the subject from the failure of the absolutely ghastly adventure in Iraq to blaming Iran. Look, we're not succeeding in Iraq because Iran is now killing our soldiers in Iraq. This makes absolutely no sense. on top of having no evidence to support this assertion. So, it's very, very dangerous because there's no possibility of dialogue when you have a fundamentalist administration like you have in the White House and a relatively similar fundamentalist administration as you have it in Tehran. Ideally, the Europeans should be the bridge. They tried to be the bridge for 2 years. But now, with a different configuration where you have Brown, Merkel, and Sarkozy, which are a kind of a united anti-Iranian front, even not taking into consideration their commercial interests, their sizable commercial interests in Iran, the thing is totally unbalanced. And Iran, it's true, Iran is very isolated diplomatically. Iran can count on Russia. But what exactly is Russia's game? Nobody knows. Russia's game could be even to let an American aggression happen in Iran. They could supply Iran with a lot of extremely powerful weapons and put the United States in even another quagmire in the Middle East. So this could be Putin's game in the long run. Or they could say, look, to Iran, look, we help anything you need. We help you to build a Bushehr nuclear plant. We deliver everything that is still missing. But you have to promise us that you will never develop a military-use nuclear program. This is what is going to be discussed next month in Tehran. It's an extremely important meeting. I would say it's the most important meeting of 2007. This is Putin and the Supreme Leader and Ahmadinejad discussing among themselves what are they going to do against the Bush administration designs, basically.